going to talk about Moeller's stroke. At least the way I kind of went about it was in two stages. So the first stage is learning how to completely let go of the stick. So what you're going to do, you're just going to throw the stick down and let it come all the way up while your hand stays where it threw it. So you're going to throw it and your hand stays right there and you're just going to let it come all the way back up. So this is what it looks like. So you throw it and let it come all the way back up. And then do it again and let it come all the way back up. So this just gets you to just let the stick completely go. You do it with left hand. Almost. If sometimes that might happen with your left hand because there's sometimes your left hand isn't as balanced as your right. So what this is called the free stroke, just letting it go completely free. Some people do that. I do that. Okay, and then the second stage is when you probably learned how to roll first. We did the Super Ball, so you do the same exact thing except just let it bounce multiple times. And the same thing when you did your roll. When you want to do either 1, 2, 3, or 4 strokes, if you want to do 1, you just lift it back up. If you do 2, on the second, you lift. So when you do your regular double, you catch it. But when you do the Moeller, on the second double, you catch it and lift at the same time. So let's do it really slow. Throw, catch. 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 So when you do it really slow, it's a little weird, but you just have to get used to feeling the stick all the time until you get to that catch. So you get used to how the stick is weighted and things like that. If you want to do 3, it'll be a throw, a tap, and a catch. But the thing is, it's always going to be one wrist motion down. So if you wanted to do a Mr. Waddell's roll, which is 1, 2, 3, and catch it, 1, 2, 3, and catch, it's always one wrist motion, but multiple strokes. So the same thing applies. You do it 3 times, 1, tap, catch, 1, tap, catch, 1, tap, catch, 1, tap, catch. Oh, 1, tap, catch. So that's letting it go so it does all the bounce work. So once you get used to this catch, immediately after you throw it back down. So it'll be like a 4 stroke. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. And then you start putting those closer together. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, catch, throw. 1, 2, catch, throw. 1, 2, catch, throw. And once you get used to that motion, that's basically what the Moeller stroke is. It's a throw with multiple bounces, then an immediate throw afterwards. If you want to try something, what the motion actually does is going to sound like, it's going to look like da 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 da. So if you put your stick over the stick that's doing the Moeller stroke, you should hear like da da da, like that. Or if you want to even do a little bit more even, you could do ba da 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 ba da da. Same thing with the left hand. So that way it gets it to lift the stick up just enough. Okay, so what we just did, that's the wrist Moeller, where it's basically just your wrist throwing and catching. There's a couple others. There's the full Moeller, which is a big arm motion, which technically you don't really utilize that much, but it's a good stroke to at least know of, just to get the entire arm working when you have to do big rolls like that kind of thing, so it gets the entire arm working. Then there's a half Moeller, which is a little smaller, which is just your elbow moving to create the stroke. It's a little harder to control up here, but you need a good whack. So the same thing applies. If you do it with your elbow, it should look da 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 da. So you should have a da 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 ba da kind of thing. Da 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 ba da. That's the half Moeller, just the elbow. Then there's the forearm one, where it's just your forearm creating the stroke. That's forearm one. It's a little weirder, just because it's going straight up and down. We're used to doing a little bit more of a side-to-side kind of motion, just the way our hands work. Going straight up and down is a little weird. So that's going to be a little weird to work out. See, I'm still kind of doing. Yeah, it's a little weirder. And then the wrist one, which I think is the most useful just because of what we do. And then there's a finger one called the push-pull motion, which is basically your fingers throwing the stick and catching the stick without the wrist. So that's a little stranger just because it's a lot weaker. I'm not really good with my left hand at it. It's good to know just because it starts working more of these fine muscles. So even if you don't do it perfectly, if you at least practice at it, you'll get more fine tuning in your fingers, which helps with all the like soft playing. So you start really like, you could play like that if you wanted to. ways to practice this, to get the wrist motion. If you ever had in your stick control accented eighth notes, so you have like right rights and left lefts, but every second time you actually accent it. So you have like right right left left right right. That's a good way to practice this tap catch or tap lift at the same time in a throw. The faster you can do this, the faster you'll be able to. So you go. There you go. So the faster you can do the accented eighth notes, it transferred directly to the Moeller stroke. Which technically, the accented eighth note is a Moeller stroke just because it's a catch and a bounce. You're just not actually just throwing, catching. So I found this is extremely helpful for when you want to speed up your Moeller stroke with your wrist. Okay, so let's see. That's the basic Moeller stroke. That's all it is. It's all just throwing and bouncing and catching at the last one. If you want to do 4, you do throw, tap, tap, catch, throw, tap, tap, catch, and just repeat the process. And remember, it's always, if you want to do the complete bounce Moeller, it's just one wrist motion and nothing else. Just let the stick bounce as many times as you want it to. Now, if you want to start making it more present, like if you do like a double stroke roll, if you want to make it more, I guess, articulate, you start playing out the doubles more. Same thing with the Moeller stroke. If you want to make it more present, start playing out the taps and the catches more. You can do that with either your fingers, pulling it in, or you can do it with the wrist. I kind of prefer the wrist just because with our practice technique, you know, we use a lot more wrist than finger always. So if we could do it really well with our wrists, we'll be able to even do it better with our fingers. So then we could play it really loud. So I recommend practicing it with finger and then with wrist and then adding the two together. That's finger, then wrist. So that's basically a throw, tap, tap. Then you're actually just playing it. Or finger, 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 finger. So you can do it. This is actually playing it out without the bounce. So this is with the finger, it's throw, finger, finger, throw, finger, finger, throw, finger, finger. And then with the wrist, it's throw or downstroke, tap, up or upstroke, down, tap, up, down, tap, up, or down, tap, tap, up, down, tap, tap, up. So then you're actually playing it out. Or that's with the finger. So if you want to play it out more to make it stronger, either use your finger, your wrist, or both. So you can start working out your speed of your wrist, how much. So you can start working at it like. The finger. A little harder for your left hand, or your right hand if you're left-handed, or weaker with your left hand. Yeah, so that's the basic Moeller stroke. Just throws, bounces, and catches. Or if you want to play it out more, you can actually play out the taps and catches with your fingers or your wrist. And it really helps because once you know how to control all of these bounces, you can actually feel the bounces better when you do rolls or soft rolls, or when you do fine tuning. It starts working out that fine muscle control, especially in your fingers if you learn the push pull. Okay, so that's the basic Moeller stroke.